Sorry everybody, it's Xilicks here, and welcome back to another week of the Baby League. This time we are facing off against Lars, ElScizor, and the Borussia Donphan. So this battle is very important because, as you guys may have known, if you haven't watched last week, go watch it, pause this, go watch the other video. Spoiler alert, we are 2-2, and Lars at the time is 3-1. So if we can win this battle, we will be tied with Lars record-wise. We'll both be 3-2, which is going to be very important for me moving forward, as after this battle, there's only 2 weeks left of the regular season. So we want to try to end with the best record as possible, and we want to, obviously, like these teams that are starting to get ahead of us, we want to make sure that they are not getting ahead of us, pull them back a little bit. So getting a win here is very important. So let's take a look at his team to see what he may be bringing. So his draft is the Yanma, Chimchar, Drillbur, Piplup, Chespin, Zigzagoon, Pawniard, Solosis, Krogunk, and Blitzel. I don't remember his users off the top of my head, but I do know that Yanma is one of them, and Yanma is also his top KO mon so far with 9. He also has the Pawniard, which has 6. So we want to be worried about both of those because those are by far his most offensive mons. And yeah, let's take a look at what team I'm bringing. So one of the first things I wanted to bring was my Growlithe, but I wanted to be careful with my Growlithe because I do not want to be running the Intimidate ability because he has that Pawniard. Pawniard does have the Defiant, so if I ever Intimidate that Pawniard, then he'll be getting +1 attack, which can be very threatening. So whenever I was looking at my other potential ability options, there is the Flash Fire, which will make us immune to fire. And then also there's the Justified. Justified makes it so that if we get hit by a dark type move, then we will get higher attack. So I was really heavily leaning towards Justified for a while because of that Pawniard. If he goes for a Sucker Punch or a knockoff, we will get the attack raise. Also that Krogunk has the potential going for a Sucker Punch. So I was thinking about that, but then I was like, well, you know, Chimchar could be kind of threatening versus my team, so I do want to have like a fire immunity. I think that would be nice, but obviously looking at what he brought, we do not see that Chimchar, so the Justified would have been nice for that Toxicroak's Sucker Punch, but also the Intimidate would have been nice because we don't even see the Pawniard. But either way, we are running a very interesting set on this Growlithe. We have the Leftovers, max attack Adamant with a lot of speed and a bit of HP investment. We are running the Flare Blitz, Wild Charge, Flame Charge, and Substitute. So if we are able to get behind a Substitute and get to +1 speed, we're going to be destroying lives with this Growlithe. I do know that he can hit us behind the Substitute with Yanma's Bug Buzz, but we do resist that, which that is nice to have. And then obviously the Yanma will be able to outspeed us as well with the speed boost. But if we are behind a Substitute, he's going to be forced to either try to break it or hit us with the Bug Buzz, and we are going to be able to absolutely obliterate that Yanma with whatever fire move we go for. Next up, I have my Munchlax running the Iapapa Berry with max HP, max defense, Impish with a tiny little bit in special defense there. We are running the Return, Brick Break, Recycle, Curse set just so we can heal up while also boosting our defense further because he does have a lot of physical offense this week. And we do have a way of dealing with that huge special threat of the Yanma being Tyrunt. So Tyrunt is running an Assault Vest with max HP, max special defense, Careful Nature, Rock Slide, Ice Fang, Crunch, Earthquake with the Strong Jaw. This Tyrunt is going to be incredibly important. We can take hits from that Yanma, even if it's choice specs. Whatever set it is, we can take hits, and we can always knock it out with a Rock Slide. Even if it's Charty Berry, I don't care. We're destroying this Yanma. So this Tyrunt is going to be super important. We have to try to keep it healthy to make sure we can deal with that Yanma and not let it get out of control. Next up, I have my Snivy. Snivy's pretty nice this week because we can take hits from the Drillbur, we can take hits from the Blitzel. We are running max defense, max HP, Bold Nature with the Leaf Storm, Leech Seed, Substitute, and Hidden Power Ground. I have the Substitute in case we're ever against the Chespin and he's trying to set up like spikes or something. We can just kind of spam Leaf Storm against it just because I'm not running HP Fire or HP Flying or really any way of actually touching this Chespin, but if we are just able to kind of sit there and spam Leaf Storms against it, it can be decent setup fodder. And getting behind a Substitute will force like the Yanma in to go for Bug Buzzes, then we can just bring in Tyrunt against that. We can even bring in Hone Edge against that. But yeah, so next up I have my Staryu with not a Choice Scarf this week. We are running the Life Orb once again with a lot of speed, not max speed just because that Yanma does outspeed us anyways, but a lot of speed to outspeed some of the 65 base speed tiers with the Modest Nature, running Surf, Psychic, Ice Beam, and Thunderbolt. This Staryu absolutely obliterates things like it does almost every week. If ever he gets a KO and we can bring this thing in and be faster, we get a revenge kill, pretty much guaranteed. And then finally, I am bringing Honedge with the Cobra Berry, running the Iron Head, Sacred Sword, Rock Slide, Shadow Sneak with max HP, max defense, Impish. So yeah, we are running a lot of defensive sets this week. However, we are mixing things up a little bit, running an offensive set on our Growlithe. So let's get into the matchup. Now, watching Lars's other battles, I have seen him lead Chespin quite a fair bit to try to set up like spikes, maybe, you know, just like go for Spiky Shield, whatever. So I did want to lead off with my Growlithe just because it gives me the opportunity to set up a substitute on that thing if he tries to Spiky Shield or set up some spikes, and then we can start flame charging away. But no, we are going to see Pilot, and this thing is an absolute threat. I'm going to bring my Tyrunt in immediately, full well knowing that he could U-turn here if he wanted to, which is exactly what we're going to see. And even though we are max HP, we're not running that much defense, so that U-turn is going to do a pretty hefty chunk, but not too much to the point where I'm really worried. This does reveal to him, though, that we are pretty HP invested, and also that this Tyrunt is a switch-in. He is here going to bring in his Excadrill, which makes me think, okay, he might be Scarfed, potentially fearing my Choice Scarf. I'm just going to go directly into my Snivy, though, to take this Earthquake. No problemo. Now, here, I considered going for a substitute, but the main reason I didn't go for a substitute or a Leech Seed was I thought that we may see that Yanma come out, and then obviously the Yanma could just go for a Bug Buzz and absolutely obliterate me behind my substitute. But he is going to go into that Blitzel, and this Blitzel is running the Sap Sipper as I go for a Leaf Storm, because I figured, you know what, this Excadrill could be really scary. Let's just attack it. And no, we are going to see this Blitzel. But because we are so defensively invested, this Flame Charge is not going to kill us even at +1, and we are going to get off a ton of damage with a Hidden Power Ground against this Blitzel. So this is huge for us. He does reveal here that he is Life Orb, which is useful information. We are going to do quite a lot of damage to this Blitzel, which will put it in range of our Honedge's Shadow Sneak, but unfortunately, we are going to have to let our Snivy go down here. Now, the problem with Snivy going down is we no longer have an Earthquake switch-in, but I'm kind of okay with that because we know from the damage he did with his Excadrill, he's either Adamant or he's like some weird like Choice Scarf Adamant set, or maybe he's like a boosting item Jolly. It was kind of hard to tell, but that Earthquake did a lot of damage to our Snivy despite being defensive and it being a resist. So I didn't think that he was the Choice Scarf, but there was still the opportunity of him being that Choice Scarf. We are going to see that Drillbur come out again. I think I was calling it Excadrill. It is Drillbur. It's so hard to differentiate. And he is just going to go for an Earthquake. Because our Munchlax is super defensive, we can take this relatively nicely, but it is going to do a lot. And I just want to set up a Curse because the next Earthquake will knock us into our Iapapa range. But here, he confirms that he's definitely not Choice Scarf and goes for the Swords Dance. I found out after the battle that he was running the Soft Sand, which explains the added damage that he was doing. So here, this Earthquake, because we're at +1 defense, this Earthquake is a roll on whether or not it's going to kill us. And the roll is kind of 50-50. I think it's a little bit in his favor, but we are going to live with 10 HP and get off that Iapapa. Big time recovery, sending us all the way back up to 130 HP. And we're just going to go for a Body Slam and a +1. We are going to be able to take out that Drillbur. I again think that that may have been a damage roll, but even if we didn't get the roll, we could have knocked it out with Shadow Sneak, we could have knocked it out with Staryu. So yeah, once he confirmed he wasn't Choice Scarf, we had plenty of ways to deal with it, especially at how low of HP it would have been. So here, makes a pretty good play going into his Krogunk and then doubling into the Solosis. I kind of thought this might have happened, but I'm actually not terribly mad about this matchup because I can go for a Shadow Sneak here, which is going to do a ton of damage to this Solosis. I thought it would have done a lot less. He is going to be able to like destroy our lives with the Shadow Ball because Honedge's special defense is butter. But because we did so much damage to this thing, we can bring in our Growlithe and go for a Flame Charge. Now, this matchup so far has been looking relatively grim. Despite it being 4-4, we are a little bit more weak than he is. But now we can knock out that Xilicks, we can get the +1 speed, and this puts him in a rough spot. Because of how much health we're at, he can't necessarily go into his Yanma and like protect and get a kill. I found out later that he can't even go for a protect if he wanted to. Now here he goes for a Sucker Punch. I really wanted to substitute, but I think if he was Choice Scarf max speed, he may have outsped our set, and I did not want to take any risks. Now obviously, had I subbed there, I would have been in a golden position. But with this Leftovers recovery, we are going to have exactly enough HP to create one more substitute. Now, even if we didn't have enough HP to create more substitute, I could have gone for a Flare Blitz against this thing anyways. But the reason I subbed was in case he tried to Spiky Shield here, but he actually goes for the Superpower, which is kind of better because this is going to lower his defense. So like if he was running an Aqua Berry or something, I believe the Flare Blitz now has like a 100% chance to kill, and if not, it's going to put him in range where Staryu can knock him out, or even potentially Tyrant. But he is going with that defense drop. He's just going to get absolutely obliterated by this Flare Blitz, and obviously we are going to also go down to the combination of Recoil and Life Orb. However, we are now in a one-on-one scenario versus that Yanma, and I still have my Tyrant at very high amounts of HP. The only damage we took on this so far was that U-turn from earlier. And we are going to be able to munch up whatever attack this thing goes for. Now, he was not expecting this. He was, because he is Choice Specs here, so he wouldn't be able to go for the Protect like I was talking about earlier. But here, he's just going to go for the Bug Buzz. He thinks it's going to kill because he does not know we are Assault Vest, super special defense. But it's not going to kill. We are going to connect our Rock Slide, thankfully, and we are going to get a big win against the Borussia Donphan. This match was really enjoyable for me. I had a lot of fun playing it. I was definitely a little bit nervous whenever we saw that Sap Sipper on the Blitzel, and then also that Jober getting to +2. The Xilicks double was decent, but that actually put me in a good position to be able to set up with my Growlithe. So the match kind of played into my hand towards the end, as we did have a little bit of a rough start there. But yeah, I'm really glad I decided to go with the prep on Growlithe of being offensive, because it worked out nicely. I don't know if he was predicting that at all. I think defensive Growlithe would have been really nice in this matchup to intimidate the Krogunk, the Chespin, the Blitzel. He didn't bring the Pawniard, but, you know, I could have Will-Wisped that if I was the defensive set. So, yeah, I'm really happy about this matchup. Obviously, you know, I could have done a little bit differently in some parts, obviously not giving the Blitzel the boost. You know, I could have kept my Earthquake switching around. But alas, GG to Lars. Those rolls on the Munchlax could have been a little bit sketchy, but I think I still would have been okay with my Staryu. So yeah, it is what it is. Obviously the battle would have been different had those rolls gone differently. And GG, once again, you guys probably are already subscribed to Lars, but make sure you go check him out, as well as every other coach in the Baby League, to keep up with how the league is going. As I mentioned at the start of this video, we have 2 more weeks left, so make sure to subscribe to me if you want to see those next 2 weeks, and follow me on Twitter to stay updated with the league. So that is going to be all from me. I will catch you guys next time. Kiddings, bye.